And then we're going to jump into a breakdown of the individual prompts. So let's go ahead and get started hearing from Joseph actually about why essays are so important when you're applying to Columbia.
So Columbia takes writing very seriously. Columbia is built on the Common Core, which is a academic set of courses that you take built on philosophy, writing, or critical thinking, interdisciplinary studies. And so they want to see that you're ready for that level of rigor. And so they put a lot of value into their essays. Essays usually count between 25 and 30% of the admission, 35% of the admissions decisions, and they will be read over multiple times by multiple individuals. So it's not just clearing one pass on these essays. You do need to be able to create a strong enough essay to impress multiple individuals on the committee in order to gain admittance into Columbia. So essays are always important, but especially important when applying to Columbia.
Yeah. And I think that especially at a school like Columbia, right, one of the tricky things is that so often there's so many applicants who have really good grades and really good extracurricular resumes and good test scores if they've taken them. So essays are that one spot for you to really set yourself apart to some extent.
Yes.
And in fact, I would say that what the data suggests and what conversations with folks at Columbia have told me is that sometimes in some cycles, it's even 4 or 5 students who look pretty similar on paper that they're really differentiating between by reading their essays. And to Joseph's point, your job with your college essays is that's the thing that you're going to use to convince Columbia's admissions officers to actively choose you over other applicants. And this is why it's so important to get like super personal and really show off your personal qualities in your essays, right? People don't choose you over someone else who looks pretty similar on paper because of your resume. They're going to choose you because to some extent they like you better, or they think you're going to be a better contributor or a better fit in Columbia's campus and community.
Absolutely. And it's not a time for simplistic answers. That question, what brings you joy, is tricky because they actually want something very complex. They want to know that you can think and write like a Columbia student is going to need to do. And that's how you can really differentiate yourself when everything else looks very similar.
Absolutely. And another piece that's really important, I think Joseph can speak to this directly as an admissions officer, right, is that the personal circumstances of the admissions officers are going to affect how they read your essay. Different admissions officers are going to read your essay with different levels of context and experience. Factors like their politics, their religion, even their alignment with Columbia's mission and culture, and potentially even the other applicants that they're reviewing in that same time frame, all that's going to affect how they read your application. And even their state of mind and emotions at the moment they read your essay can affect it. So all of that comes into play. And so there is obviously an element of luck when applying to Columbia. And that's why it's so important to write really awesome and really compelling essays, because that's going to minimize the impact of that luck factor has on your application.
Yeah, and when you're writing these essays, you really want to think about how to pull an admissions officer out of almost the repetition that they're going through. We read these things in stacks, to be honest with you. We are moving through them very quickly. And if you have an essay that can make an admissions officer stop for a second, give it that extra second of consideration and depth in reading, that's really where you can increase that luck if you write strongly enough to give yourself that better opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm going to kick things back over to Joseph to talk a little bit more about how you think about the essays working together.